Good afternoon. Welcome to Inside Indiana Sports Now with Kent Sterling. It's Thursday, May 6th, 2021. We're brought to you by the great people of today's dentistry, Dr. Mike O'Neill, the finest dentist in all the land. He's been my dentist for the last 27 years. Look at those teeth. They are a source of pride in the Sterling family. Your teeth will be a source of pride for you and your family. Just make the call. Dr. Mike's the best dentist that there is. 317-849-2933. Hit subscribe, hit like, ring the bell. Let's go. Let's talk about sports. The Colts, we're going to grade their position groups. Then we're going to talk about the Pacers. They got a game tonight at Bankers Life Fieldhouse against the Atlanta Hawks. That's not really why we're talking about them. Albert Pujols was designated for assignment. We'll talk a little bit about a first ballot Hall of Famer if there ever has been one. And then Taylor Ware is leaving Chatard High School as basketball coach, and I don't like it. I don't blame him, but I don't like it. Now let's talk about the Colts, because the Colts position groups, the aggregate grade of the Colts position groups, the talent comprised by the men on this roster, broken down by position, is going to determine whether they get to the playoffs and how deep into the playoffs they go. There's still areas we don't know about, like the offensive line. Let's talk about the line. All right, you've got Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Mark Glowinski, Braden Smith in the line. We don't know who the left tackle is going to be, so we've got to assume that it's going to be the guy who's on the roster. We don't know whether Fisher's coming, right? We don't know whether Leno's coming, but we do know that Sam Tevi is on this roster. And while the other four guys on this offensive line are terrific, I still grade the offensive line as a B+. That seems like a hometown Harry grade, right? If you've got what's supposed to be the anchor of the O-line sitting out there and being a C- to a D+ level player, as Sam Tevi is, you know what? How do you grade the rest of the line so high that you wind up with a B+? Well, I just think that that's how good they are. Quentin Nelson's the best guard in the game. Ryan Kelly may be the best center in the game. Braden Smith's a hell of a right tackle, and Glowinski's pretty good at right guard too. Depth-wise, not a lot going on there, but I still give it a B+. All right, running back. I give the running back position group a solid A. I don't give A+. I think A+ are for nuts. All right, nobody gets an A+. Have you ever gotten an A+? I got an A+ in soccer when I was at Indiana University. That's the end in film study of film, C190. I got an A+ in that. I won't tell you how, but I didn't earn it. All right, let's talk about the A for the Colts running back group. Jonathan Taylor was terrific as a rookie. You've got Marlon Mack coming back, and if he's anywhere near what he was before he tore his Achilles, you know what? Marlon Mack with Jonathan Taylor is going to be a hell of a two-headed monster. Then you've got Nyheim Hines, who's a nice kind of scat back, a guy you can split out into the slot, or a guy you can kind of use like Darren Sproles. I think Nyheim Hines is an important weapon for this offense. And then you've got Jordan Wilkins, who's terrific. Jordan Wilkins can run away from people. You got four really good backs. Do they need four? Probably not. They need three, but they are going to wind up with three really good running backs out of those four. The quarterback position, I grade as a B-. I don't know which Carson Wentz is going to show up. I trust that Chris Ballard and Frank Reich knew what the hell they were doing when they made the deal, a third rounder and probably a first, to bring Wentz here. Carson Wentz in 17 was an A-level player. In 18 and 19, a B-level player. And in 2020, he was a D-level player. Which guy did the Colts get? I think they got the guy who in 17, 18, and 19 was ranked 6th, 14th, and 14th by Pro Football Focus. That's who I think they got. So this group winds up being a B-. Jacob Eason, I don't know if he can play. Sam Ehlinger, I don't know if he can play. So you've got three guys, one of whom you've ever seen take an NFL snap, and you've got to find a backup among the other two, because Carson Wentz, he doesn't finish a lot of seasons healthy. He's played 5 seasons, and in 3 of them, he's gotten hurt and he's missed a lot of games. So you've got to have a quality backup. Is Jacob Eason that guy? Is Sam Ehlinger that guy? We don't know. So I got him as a B- at the quarterback position. How about tight end? C+. Jack Doyle, Mo Ali Cox, right? And the new guy, Kyle Granson. I don't even know whether I should list him as a tight end. He was a tight end at SMU and Rice before that, but I don't know if that's his final position. They kind of talk about him as an H-back, a guy you put out in the slot. He can't block, so I'm not as a tight end. I don't grade that group better because of his presence. Doyle is getting a little bit older, still reliable, a really good blocker, certainly. Mo Alley-Cox ranked the 5th best tight end in the NFL by Pro Football Focus. All right, they don't have that dynamic kind of Travis Kelce guy that they could really use. They don't have Zach Ertz. Last year, Zach Ertz wasn't very good. But prior to that, he is a hell of a weapon for the Philadelphia Eagles. You don't have that guy on this team, and because of that, I grade that position group as a C+. Wide receiver, man, I got him as a B-. You really don't have a number 1 wide receiver, a top guy, unless Michael Pittman Jr. is that guy. If he develops, if he takes that jump from what he was as a rookie, which was pretty good, to being that top dog of these receivers, you know what? That B- becomes a B+ with Pittman. T.Y. Hilton, he's getting a little bit older. Last year, he wasn't bad. He was okay. He earned himself a 1-year contract, another year as a wide receiver with the Colts. Then you go to Paris Campbell. We don't know if he can stay on the field. Maybe all these injuries were bad luck. I've never seen a guy have this kind of bad luck. We're going to see if it was bad luck. Going to be an interesting year for Paris Campbell. It's kind of last chance saloon for Paris Campbell. If he can stay healthy, he elevates this grade as well. Then you got guys like Des Patman. You've got Zach Pascal, who I think is terrific, a great guy, but not dynamic in any specific way. He's not a blazer. He's not a technician from a route perspective. He's just good at everything. And then you've got Strachan, who is the guy that they drafted. He's tall, he's rangy, he's got an incredible catch radius. Okay, can he play football? If he can, why did he last until that late in the draft? So they are a B-. Then you've got the special teams guys. I give them an A. Blankenship, Sanchez, Rhodes, I give those guys an A. I think they're really good. I think Rodrigo Blankenship is a terrific kicker. I think he's got kind of a flair for the unusual with the specs and with the socks and all that stuff, the branding stuff. And I think Rigoberto Sanchez is a guy who's so good as punter that he can win you games. He might win you 1 game on average per year, maybe 2. And if you got a punter who can do that with field position, you got something, and that is worthy of an A. All right, defensive line, I give him a C. I don't know what Kwity Paye is going to be. I do know that Buckner is really good. DeForest Buckner is excellent. So he is an A-level player. Then you've got Grover Stewart, and Grover Stewart isn't bad. Then you've got Kamoko Toure, you've got Ben Bandigu, you've got Odango, and thanks very much to Indiana Sports Buzz for correcting me. I kept pronouncing his name Odeyingbo, which is kind of phonetic as to the way it is spelled. However, it's Odango. That's easier anyway, but thank you for the correction. I appreciate it. I do not mind being corrected. Unlike some, I will admit a mistake when I make one. Congrats to me. Anyway, and then you've got Al-Qadim Muhammad, who's really pretty good also. So you got a lot of good in there. You don't have any great, really, other than Buckner. Buckner's terrific. But you've got to be able to attack from the edge. Is Paye going to be that guy? Is Odango going to be that guy? Can Toure do it? Can Bandigu do it? Can Tyquan Lewis do it? I guess we're going to find out this coming year. But among that group, they got to find 2 guys who can put consistent pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Linebackers, B. Leonard and Okereke. Leonard's terrific. Okereke's good. And then I don't know what you do. Okereke's going to be the middle linebacker, I'm guessing. And then you've got Speed, Moore, Franklin, Adams. That's the other guy. I don't know. They going to be any good? The first 2 are good enough. I give them a B. Cornerbacks, C. And I think I'm being generous. Rock Yassin. Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore is terrific. I like Kenny Moore. Xavier Rhodes was good last year. Carey was pretty good himself. Then you've got the guy, Isaiah Rodgers, is kind of a wild card in this deck. I think he can play. Not just special teams. I think he can play cornerback. And I think he's going to be a good cornerback. So let's see if he can do that. And I think that that's really the optimism in that position group that allows me to lift them to a C, and maybe by the end of the year beyond that. Then you've got guys, you've got guys like Marvell Tell. How about Marvell Tell? He opted out last year because of COVID. He's going to be back, and he looked okay before he sat last year. Maybe he can come back and he can play some pretty good football too. So there's room to grow there. There's room for that C to become a B or a B plus, but we're not going to project it because we don't know that. And then at safety, I give him a B plus because I like Julian Blackmon. I like Khari Willis a lot as a box safety. Then you've got two guys named Sean Davis, one that they just drafted out of Florida. He was a fifth rounder. And then you've got Sean Davis from Maryland. Which of those guys can play? I don't know. I think it's going to get confusing for Frank Reich. And we're going to see what that safety position is. I think George Odom's pretty good too. All right, so there you go. There are the grades. The aggregate of those grades, that's a B. That's a B roster. B to, I think it's a rock solid B. All right, let's talk about the Pacers. Pacers announced today that Greg Foster, an assistant coach under Nate Bjorkgren, and Goga Bitadze have been disciplined for what happened last night. There was a fracas last night. Goga Bitadze told Greg Foster to sit the down during the game, during gameplay, and it was while he was on camera after hitting a three-pointer. And what happened, Greg Foster was upset. You had Mo Harkless go to the rim on the other end and throw it on Goga's head, who posed no substantial opposition whatsoever. Foster didn't like it, yelled at Bitadze. Bitadze hits the three, voices his displeasure to Foster, and all of a sudden, Miles Turner and others are between these two guys, and that's not the look you want, especially not 24 hours after Woj tweeted that Nate Bjorkgren's got problems with communication, and he's in the process or in danger of losing his staff and losing his roster. You hear that late the night before, and then last night, as people are kind of looking for weirdness, all of a sudden you get extreme weirdness in an episode, maybe the ugliest internal episode for this team since the brawl. I don't know what's going to happen next, but this thing clearly is unspooling and unwinding, and it's out of control, and somebody has to step in and gain control of this roster and that staff. And I don't know whether Nate Bjorkgren's got to do it, and I don't know whether it's Kevin Pritchard who can get Nate Bjorkgren to do that. And that is a big problem for the Indiana Pacers, especially on a night like tonight where they play the Atlanta Hawks, who are coached by Nate McMillan. Nate McMillan, the Sarge, that kind of crap would not have happened with Nate McMillan running the show with the Pacers. It did happen last night with Bjorkgren, and you've got to wonder whether Bjorkgren is going to be able to cobble this back together. Once the horses leave the barn, it is really tough to get those horses back in the barn. So we'll see. 7 games left in the regular season. Then I think it's going to be a very short postseason, as it looks like these Pacers would kind of like to take their foot off the gas, heal, recover, and look ahead to 21-22. Albert Pujols, the best hitter I've ever seen on a day-to-day basis. When I was in St. Louis for a brief period of time in 2011, really the second half of the season in 11, Albert Pujols was the best hitter I ever saw. He was a really good base runner. He was a good defensive first baseman. And then he signed a 10-year deal with the California Angels, and that deal ended today as the Angels DFA'd him. Pujols, among the top 5 ever in terms of home runs, passing Willie Mays not long ago. Pujols, a great hitter. Not good, great hitter. Taylor Wayer is leaving Chatard High School as a boys basketball coach. He leaves with an overall 23-23 record after 2 years. He is a terrific young man, a graduate of the Indiana University basketball program, a guy who had a profoundly positive effect on those he coached. I hate to see young guys like this leave that profession, because then you got to take a step back, right? And I don't like to see that. Tomorrow morning, Breakfast with Kent. What's going to happen tonight at Bankers Life Fieldhouse? We'll talk about it tomorrow, and we'll talk about the Colts too, straight up 6 o'clock, Facebook Live, and then on YouTube. Can't wait to talk to you then.